Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Buenos dias. Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. A bit of a feedback video, go through some of the comments and also go through some of the interesting things that are happening around the country at the moment. I say buenos dias. It's about 10 past 1 in the afternoon. Well, I call it the afternoon, but here in Spain, people normally say buenos dias or good morning until they have lunch, which is around 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, the title of yesterday's video was "It's time to stop socializing." Few comments about that. Somebody said time to stop socializing or time to stop socialism. Don't really know what they mean by that. Is it time to stop free education? Is it time to stop free healthcare in this country? I don't know. That could be a debate for another day. But it does appear that socializing is being cracked down on in the country at the moment as more and more autonomous communities decide to shut bars and restaurants down for a period of anywhere between 15 and 30 days. I think Murcia is the last region in Spain that has decided to do this. I think they announced that as of Friday or tomorrow, bars and restaurants are shutting down. And as we have mentioned in other videos, it seems to be that socializing, family gatherings, or people going to bars and restaurants are one of the main reasons why the virus is spreading around the country so quickly at the moment. We haven't reached that extreme yet in the part of Spain that I'm living in. Here in Madrid, you can still go to bars, you can still go to restaurants, although there is a curfew in place. I think it's still 12 midnight when all of these places decide to shut down. So people are still able to go out, have a drink, have something to eat, but I don't know for how much longer. Lots and lots of talk about home confinements. There's lots of autonomous communities at the moment saying that that is going to be the next step. But as we know, we're waiting on the central government to allow these home confinements to take place because the autonomous communities apparently don't have the power to do it yet. Even though some of them want to do it, they need permission from the central government to bring in home confinement. And I think I said yesterday that the central government has decided to postpone their decision on home confinements for another couple of weeks. So curfews and mobility restrictions are going to remain in place, and as I just said, various places are going to shut down bars, restaurants and shopping centres, which obviously are places where people decide to get together and socialise. And of course, it's all about the pressure on hospitals here again. The autonomous communities are desperate not to allow their hospital systems to collapse, and it is getting to breaking point in some of the autonomous communities around Spain, especially when it comes to ICU beds. I think we saw yesterday in Andalusia that the junta has taken control of the private healthcare system there, and they're also turning hotels again into hospitals. Here in Madrid, they're building a hospital to handle the increase in patients, and various hospitals in the Madrid community have also announced that they are increasing their ICU capacity. And I'm still surprised when I read in the comment section people saying that hospitals here in Spain are empty. I don't know where people get that information from, unfortunately. People want to put that hoax out there that hospitals are empty, that there isn't a health crisis, and some people still think that this is a scam or a plot and that we're all being conned. So if you've got a comment like that, do us a favour and leave it somewhere else. Now, if you're living in Spain and you're out and about, you might have seen a new ad campaign by the drinks company Schweppes, where they're trying to get Spanish people to change their eating habits, trying to get them to eat before 8 p.m. and save the restaurant and bar industry in the country. The ad features a letter which is addressed to various groups of people from different European countries. English, Portuguese, Swedish are some of the ads that I've seen. And in the one that's addressed to the English, it says, "Dear English people, we will tolerate you wearing sandals with socks when you visit us, but please teach us how to have dinner before 8 p.m. So quite a clever ad, but I don't know how successful they're going to be trying to get people in this country to change their eating habits. Now, there were a few comments about the unemployment situation here in Spain. We've been talking in recent times about youth unemployment. I think I mentioned the other day that it's up around 41% at the moment for people between the ages of 16 to 25. And yesterday I mentioned that regular employment has increased around 1.2% over the last month. So unemployment continues to rise, and it's been one of the big problems in this country ever since I've lived here. Youth unemployment has been a problem for years and years. I mentioned that during the crisis here in 2008, 2009, it hit 50% in some areas, and I think regular employment peaked at around 25% as well. So unemployment is nothing new in this country. There was a time there back in the early 2000s when the unemployment rate got below 10%, but of course it was all due to the construction boom, and when that construction boom or the construction bubble burst, unemployment hit the roof. And it's one of those things that I've never been able to put my finger on, the exact reason why there is so much unemployment in this country, why it's so difficult to create jobs, and why jobs are destroyed so quickly in times like these. I'm sure that there must be a logical reason, but I've never been able to pinpoint it. So if you've got any ideas, let me know. And while we are on the topic of the economy, the government recently announced that they're going to increase public servant salaries by 0.9% this year. And of course, you can imagine how that announcement was received by a lot of the population here in Spain. A lot of people not happy about that, of course, but the economy minister has come out today justifying that decision, saying that they need to increase those salaries because public servants are going to spend that money and it's going to help reactivate the economy. The idea the government has is that if you put extra money into the pockets of civil servants, they're going to go out, spend it, and that's what's going to give the economy the kickstart that it needs. And it's a bit surprising. I remember back in 2008, one of the first things the government did was freeze public service salaries, but this government is deciding to do the opposite and increase them. So if you're a public servant in Spain, congratulations. I hope you enjoy that increase. But what about the rest? And it's going to be interesting to see what the European Union has to say about this, because as we know, there were various European countries that were a bit skeptical about how Spain was going to spend the money that it's being given by the European Union, and I'm not sure if increasing public servant salaries was one of the things they had in mind. Now, there was also a bit of feedback on one of the comments I mentioned in yesterday's video about experience versus qualifications here in Spain when it comes to getting a job. I think in the original comment, the person mentioned that they had trouble getting a job in Spain because they didn't have a university degree. And even though he had years and years of experience in a certain field, he had trouble getting a job in this country. And it does seem to be a bit of a problem. I mentioned yesterday that here in Spain, people tend to be overqualified. Everybody seems to have a degree. Everybody seems to have a master's or different courses that they have done. Everybody speaks languages. If you look at people's CV, they're very, very complete. And you could get the impression that experience counts for nothing in this country. I don't know whether it's only a problem here in Spain nowadays or whether it's a widespread problem around the world that experience is becoming less and less relevant. I've seen here, for example, in the banking sector that people are often pre-retired when they're 50, 51, 52, and young people are brought in to fill those jobs. So obviously experience is not important for the banks here in Spain, or maybe it's because people are burnt out in the banking sector when they're 52 years of age. I don't know the reason for those pre-retirements. And I saw another comment from somebody saying that even in the English language teaching field here in Spain, having a lot of experience won't help you get a job. Nowadays, it seems that you need to have a degree and a TEFL qualification. And I suppose that what happens is that English academies get flooded with CVs from people that do have those qualifications, and they choose those people over people that don't have academic qualifications, and they don't take that experience into consideration. So what's more important, experience or academic qualifications? And somebody else also mentioned that when it comes to getting a job here in Spain, it's not what you know, but who you know. That old adage, that also does seem to be one of the key characteristics when it comes to getting a good job in this country, unfortunately. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.